Corey Walter here with my diversity field experience for SPED 509. For my field experience, I decided to take a look at drug culture. In order to learn more about this, I found two people that I'm acquainted with. Both of them are recovering addicts. One has been sober for about a little over 4 years now. The other has just completed a residential treatment facility earlier this fall and has been sober for a little over a year. Let's take a look at the two people that I've talked to and kind of get a little bit more into what's involved in this culture. The first person I interviewed is a male in his early 30s. He's been using drugs and alcohol since his early 20s, so quite a fairly lengthy period here. Tried to quit drugs before, relapsed, and then went into treatment. Recently graduated from the treatment facility and is currently living at that facility while attending the University of Minnesota. The second person I spoke to is a male in his mid-30s, spent quite a few years also using drugs and alcohol. Drug use pretty much ran the gamut of just about everything is the way he described it. Methamphetamines, cocaine, marijuana, prescription drugs, alcohol, just a lot of everything there. And it's a very interesting experience to talk to him about. And he went through a successful rehab program through AA, as opposed to a residential program. So I thought it was kind of an interesting contrast here to kind of take a look at the two programs, how they are similar, how they're different. That was kind of the goal of what I wanted to get out of this program was really to see how these two different programs were able to help both of these people. For the first person I interviewed, it was really where I spent a bulk of my time. I planned on splitting the time evenly between the two, but I really spent a lot more time at the treatment facility than I had initially thought I would. I thought I would be there for a couple of hours, and I spent nearly a day there, and went back another time to visit with him. Spent quite a few hours sitting there talking, getting to learn a little bit more about how everything happened here. The facility is called Metro Hope in Minneapolis. It offers residential treatment to men and women. One of the interesting things I learned here is that they have a facility that was recently built in the past 10 years. And what they do here is they allow women, if they have children, once they get through an initial phase there, they can bring their kids there to live with them, which is a really, I think, a great thing, because then the families are not being torn apart by their drug use or whatever they're trying to get treatment from. But then they can get the help they need and keep their family together, which is, a really powerful thing these days. This facility was started originally about 90 years ago, so according to their website, so a very lengthy history of their program here. And they use a very, very strong faith-based approach, as opposed to, I guess, some other places that may be a more traditional psychological approach, which is what I would have expected when I was first exploring this option. I thought this would be more of an idea of how to help someone with a mental illness or taking a more psychological approach to it. With this faith-based approach that they use, they have a spiritual ministry that operates out of the residential facility. Each resident is required to attend worship services more than once a week, so it's not just go to church on Sunday and you're done. They're going multiple times a week. Daily Bible study classes are held that are required for every resident. Service work is expected. When I went to the graduation ceremony, there were residents there bussing tables, serving food, washing dishes, and doing what it took to keep the place running from a day-to-day operation. And the other thing I thought was interesting was that all residents had a curfew set, and it was a very strict curfew from what I was told. If a resident violates that curfew, they would be asked to leave the facility and no longer be eligible for the treatment there. And so, this I thought was a very interesting approach, in that, it keeps people from being in places that they may not find the most beneficial. Both the people that I talked to said that outside assistance was one of the key factors. In the residential facility, there was other residents there. There's the counselors. You have a lot of people there that are at different levels that can help each other, can kind of buoy each other up. In AA, They also have a very strong network of support there. You have people that are their mentors when you go in, and then you're also mentoring others. So you're not only helping someone else or someone else is helping you, but you're being propped up from both ends. You're helping someone and you're being helped. And it's very interesting how both programs really found a good way to keep people involved and really provide a strong network of support. Both of them indicated that spiritual influence was vital to the process here. They both told me that you have to really learn yourself. You have to know when you're ready for the recovery process to even work. If you're not ready and you don't know yourself, then it's not going to be beneficial. It's not going to help. And once again, both of them, I just couldn't believe how often they stress this, that a belief in a higher power was just the absolute most vital thing that got them through this program. I guess looking through this experience, it was very eye opening in learning how people are able to process this whole treatment program. And so the key things that I really got out of this was that, in order for it to be a successful program, you have to have a desire to let go of those old habits. That, if you're not ready to move on from whatever it is that you are struggling with, that it's not gonna be successful. You're not gonna make headway with it. Uh, Spirituality and acceptance of a higher power. This was probably one of the things that really surprised me the most, is that both of them indicated that this was the absolute most vital component, in that when they were using drugs, it was a very selfish thing. It was all about them. They really didn't care about others. They didn't care about how they affected others, how others would perceive them. But by accepting a higher power, a spiritual being, whatever the belief is of the individual, that this way they can transcend beyond that really selfishness, and they can find some way to kind of move beyond themselves and really help them connect with others. That strong network support is one of the things that they both indicated was very, very helpful. That if you have a moment of doubt, you have some trouble, you always have someone you can talk to. You always have someone there that has been through what you're going through, that they really know, and they can give you advice and help you through it. And that a daily reinforcement of your beliefs. It's really one of those things that every day you have to reinforce that, yes, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be. Otherwise it's not really going to help you any. Both of them indicated that these programs are really only as effective as the person wants them to be. That if you're, basically, if you're not ready for this, if you don't wholeheartedly commit to this working, that it's not going to work at all for you. And kind of going along with that it is a lifelong commitment. It's not something you go through a program, you earn your graduation from the program, and then you're done. Okay, great. I don't have anything to worry about. Both of them indicate it's a daily struggle that they struggle with every day. Some days are better, some days are worse, but they always have that sense of a higher being, a higher power. They have that network of support to fall back on to help them get through those tough days. And that the other thing I found interesting was that it's not something that happens all at once. This is something that it's a gradual process. It's really something that you may not really see the benefits each and every day, but that you look back at after some length of time and you realize that it's like going upstairs. All of a sudden you're looking out and realizing how far you've made it without realizing exactly how far you've gotten here. And in the case of the first person I spoke to, sometimes it just takes multiple times that, for whatever reason, you're not ready that first, second, third, whatever the case may be. But sometimes that you do have to try several times in order to really get this to work. All in all, I think this was a very positive experience. It was very eye-opening for me, and there was a lot of things in here that I would not have guessed, that I found very interesting in the approaches and the things that worked. And I'm looking forward to learning more about this and kind of really really exploring this a little further. Thank you.